Good morning, students. This is class 7 history class. Today we are going to learn about the medieval India, the history of medieval India. The history of India has been divided into three periods: the ancient period, the medieval period, and modern period. We will now study and explore the medieval period of Indian history and about their people, culture, and political system during this period. The term medieval has been derived from a Latin word medius and avium, which means Middle Age. So, this period falls between ancient and the modern period. The medieval period extends from 700 AD to 1700 AD. That means after the death of Harshavardhana and till when the Mughal Empire started breaking up and declining, and the British began gradually to set up and establish their power. Again, the medieval India or the medieval period in India is divided into two parts. That is the early medieval period and the late medieval period. The early medieval period, that is from 700 AD to 1200 AD, saw the rise of powerful regional dynasties like Palas, Pratiharas, and the Rashtrakutas, the Cholas, and the Rajputs. The later medieval period, that is from 1200 AD to 1700 AD, is mainly characterized by the rule of foreign powers such as Turks and the Afghans and the Mughals. The Turks founded the Delhi Sultanate. In this era, new technologies like firearms, Persian wheels for irrigation, spinning wheel for making cloth came into use. Many languages also were spoken and developed, like the Urdu, the Hindi, etc. Many social customs and traditions also have their origin in this period. Intermingling with people of different parts not only brought new ideas but also brought new food items like chili, coffee, potatoes, tea, etc. Different dishes like kebabs, biryani, Mughlai dishes also came to India from Central Asia. The long rule of the Mughals stabilized the Indian society and helped in uniting the people in different parts of India. In the society, important political groups rose during this period. They were the Rajputs, the Jats, the Marathas, etc. Agriculture also spread and the forest dwellers migrated to other areas. This gave rise to many peasant societies and different classes. Rich peasants owned lands and cattle. Society was now divided into jatis and not varnas. Social background or the work done by the people determined their jati. A major change also took place in the Hindu religion. New temples were constructed by rulers. People now began to worship many deities. Brahmanas or the priest became important social group. A new religion was also brought into India by the people coming from other countries. This religion was Islam. It was introduced in 7th century by the Muslim merchants and the traders. The intermingling of the Hindu and Muslim culture developed a unique culture, and it was known as the Indian culture. Guru Nanak also laid the foundation of a new religion called Sikhism. This period also saw the emergence of the Bhakti cult. The Sufi saints, they preached equality and brought about social and religious reform. Trade also flourished with other countries, and this gave rise to new towns and cities. Indian goods now increased in they became important and they increased in the European countries. And that is why they attracted the European traders and many European traders came to India during that time. So, we get all these informations from various sources like the inscriptions or epigraphic evidences, coins or numismatic evidences, sculptures and buildings or archaeological evidence, paintings or artistic evidence, and historical writings or literary evidence. Now, we will study about the inscriptions or the epigraphic evidence. Writings engraved on stones, pillars, rocks, or metals like coins or copper plates give us a glimpse of this period. Inscriptions dating back to the Chalukya period have been found at Pattakal and Aihole in Karnataka. Some inscriptions are short but some are long and is a poem in praise of the king written by poets appointed by the king. These are called prasastis. Coins or numismatic evidence. The coins give us the names of the kings and the queens. They also help the historians to know the dates and about the rule of the king. It also indicates the kingdom and the trade relations with the place. They also indicate political and economic condition of the kingdom. Now we will study about the sculptures or the buildings or the archaeological evidence. Monuments and buildings, including temples, tell us about the religion and architecture of medieval India. They also tell us about the social and economic conditions and religious practices of that period. Some examples are the Sun Temple at Konark, the etc. Some examples of monuments and forts of this period are Red Fort, Gwalior Fort, Agra Fort, Chitar Fort, Tughlaq Fort, and so on. Now we will study about paintings or artistic evidence. Paintings tell us about the food habits, dresses, jewelry, customs, festivals, and celebrations of different events of that period. Many manuscripts had beautiful paintings in watercolors to illustrate the text. They are very small in size and hence they are called miniature paintings. Now we will read about historical writings or literary evidence. There is a rich collection of medieval period like plays, novels, biographies, etc. The literary sources of this period can be divided into two parts. The first one is primary and the next is the secondary source. Indigenous source, they include manuscripts written on brick, bark, palm leaf, cloth, paper, etc. There are various manuscripts on religion, science, art, and they are written in various Indian languages. They give us a lot of important information about the medieval India. Next, there are important biographies. Biographies are the memories. They tell us about the important facts about the rulers. We get a vivid picture of the life of the Mughals and their rule, the affairs of the royal household, and the observations of these rulers in many autobiographies. Like examples are Babarnama, which is an autobiography of Babar, and it is written in Turkish. Another example is Akbarnama. It is the biography of Akbar. Now there are also chronicles. The chronicles give us the same information because they were also written by the appointed poets of the kings. Some of them are Annals and Antiques of Rajasthan by Colonel Todd. Now the folk tales. There are stories that were handed down verbally over generations before it was being written down. Some such important collections are Kathasarit Sagar. It was written by the Kashmiri scholar Samadeva. Another one is Brihat Katha Kosha. It was written by a Jain author, Harisena, in the 10th century AD. Now we come to foreign sources. During this period, many foreigners traveled to India. They traveled as travelers, pilgrims, or as students. Their accounts give us an objective picture of the places and the rulers that they visited in India. Some such foreigners are Al Masoudi, he was an Arab traveler. Al Biruni, he was a Persian traveler. He wrote a book, Tahiki Hind. The book is a scientific treatise on the culture and economy of medieval India. Another traveler, Ibn Battuta. He came to India during the reign of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He also wrote a book named Rehla. Some important things we come to know also from the European travelers. They came to India during the medieval period. They were Domingos Pais. He was a Portuguese traveler. He visited the court of the king Krishnadeva Raya of Vijayanagar. Some other travelers were William Hawkins and Thomas Roe. They were the ambassadors of James I. They visited the court of Mughal Emperor Jahangir during 1608 to 1611 AD. Okay, children, that's all for today. Thank you.